So, you've got yourself a knockout podcast. You're loving what you're making, people are loving what you're making, but you want more. You want to boost your listeners and your revenue. And hey, it's understandable. If you want to be the next Joe Rogan, you've got to get your name out there, and it can be tricky to keep your podcast momentum going. Well, there is one way to procure longevity and success in the podcasty biz. It's time to turn your podcast into a radio station. And here at Radio.co, we can help with that.
This video is made by Radio.co. To start your free Radio.co trial in seconds, head to Radio.co and click on the pricing page.
Here's a skinny. It's widely recognised that internet radio has experienced explosive growth over the last few years. Trust us, we know this sort of stuff. It's kind of our whole thing. Anyway, with 124 million people in the US listening to radio per month, you'd be daft not to cash in on that. So, will a radio station increase your podcast audience? You bet your socks it will. Traditionally, radio has had to please a lot of demographics at once. However, the rise of internet radio has seen a huge increase in niche stations that focus on a particular genre of a topic. The main advantage of internet radio and podcasting is that they are able to serve a much more targeted audience. It means podcasters and internet radio users, such as yourself, can take advantage of this. Podcasters and radio stations can build a passionate community based around an interest. When someone chooses to listen to a podcast, they are opting in. Internet radio, by contrast, seems to be something that is more passively consumed. According to Nielsen and Pew Research, the majority of radio consumption comes from employed listeners. Basically, it's like someone who works in an office that would listen to the radio during work hours. This contrast in listening behaviour offers podcasters a fantastic opportunity to tap into that market. In fact, taking podcast content and turning it into streaming is becoming increasingly popular among broadcasters. Cha-ching! Get ready to get all Scrooge McDuck and dive into a money pool. If you don't get that reference, I'm disappointed in you. Anyway, a radio station should increase your podcast revenue. Mobile advertising revenue has captured $42 billion thanks to online radio. Given the growing size and increase of online radio, it's no surprise that advertisers want to capitalise on this and extend their overall reach, just like you want to do with your podcast. Stations don't rely on one way to make cash either. There's actually several business models that they follow. Primarily, it falls down to two types: advertisements and sponsorship. In fact, we've got our own guide on how internet radio stations make dough on our blog, so we'll link that one below. But to summarise that stunningly helpful article, mobile advertising has been a godsend for internet radio. If you already have sponsorship and advertising in place on your podcast, then cross-promoting it to your internet radio station is a genius idea. You're increasing your listeners tenfold, and you're introducing your listeners to products that you're sponsoring, thus increasing your revenue in the process. But how will your audience listen to your station, I hear you ask? Well, the vast majority of people who do listen to internet radio do so on platforms like TuneIn and iTunes Radio, so it is paramount to have a good presence on both of these platforms. And you can make it more easy and accessible for your listeners to tune in just by simply making it obvious on your website or your socials. Chuck in a little link or two, it can't hurt. Things you should include are links to your mobile apps on iTunes or Google Play, a follow button for TuneIn, and listen links to platforms like iTunes. And just so you know, if you are going down the Radio.co route, why wouldn't you? There is a variety of embeddable players at your disposal, and you can make as many as you like. The players are super easy to tailor and customise to your branding, and they help your listeners share them with other people too. If our standard radio players aren't to your taste, got you covered. You can design your own player with our provided software development kit. We provide an API also for advanced users. So you or your web designer, should you be fancy enough to have one, can edit a player to your bespoke size and needs. The possibilities are endless. I hear another question. You there in the back, yes? Can you have more than one station? Excellent question, and it's got an excellent answer. Of course you can. If you've got multiple podcasts and you think you've got somewhat of a podcast dynasty on your hands, then we might be the ideal home for you. So you can choose to host or schedule all your podcasts on one stream, or you can manage your multiple streams at the same time. And you can manage all that from one account. Should you get a dedicated mobile app? Yeah. In this day and age, every internet radio station should have a link to the App Store or the Android one. I can't remember what it's called. As we mentioned earlier, as the adoption of mobile phones is increasing the advertising revenue and increasing the listeners. It's estimated that well over 2 billion people across the world have access to a mobile phone. If you need a bit of help making an app, worry not, we've got a tool that might help. The Radio.co app builder makes it easy to create an app designed for iPhone and Android. Just to add in a little sprinkle more of self-promo, the Radio.co station plan includes a free Apple and Android app. Okay, I'm done plugging now, honest. So, you've now sorted your internet radio station. Are you wondering, where can I list it? There's a bunch of different options out there, but we have 3 recommended options. Firstly, TuneIn. It's no hidden gem or anything, it's perhaps the most popular and well-known radio directory on the internet. Last year, over 40 million active users listened to more than 1 billion hours of radio via the TuneIn app. So as you can tell, listening to your station on TuneIn is the first port of call for anyone looking to start up an internet radio station. Then there is, of course, Streamer. Whilst not as widely known as the other 2 directories we've listed, Streamer lists all the major radio stations such as ESPN and BBC Radio, so it's worth taking the effort to include your station. There are more than 70,000 radio stations like BBC Radio 1, Absolute Radio, and more that anyone can tune into online. So, hopefully we've pled the case as to why you should flesh out your beloved pod into a fully fledged station, and we've even provided you with a handy little roadmap on how to do it. And don't forget, if you need any help, you're not alone. We've got a myriad of resources out there on our YouTube and our blog, and even if you wanted to, you could reach out to us personally on socials. We're always here to help. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for putting up with my silliness, and happy broadcasting.
And just before you go, have you ever thought about launching your very own internet radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot easier than you may think, especially when you make the time to chat to myself or a member of the Radio.co team. To do just that, head to our website radio.co/demo, where I can talk about your plans, any questions you may have, and me and the team can really get you up to speed in launching your own internet radio station in literally minutes. It couldn't be easier. Why not check out some of our webinars, tutorials, help guides situated around me? Or why not visit our website, radio.co, or even drop me an email, studio@radio.co. Until next time, take care and happy broadcasting.